screen now. Uh, so, first of all, thanks for joining us. For next, 20-25 minutes, we'll be talking about AI-driven automation with Ginger by Amdocs. And my name is Jinendra. Along with me, I have Mahesh and Itsik. Three of us are from Amdocs Quality Engineering CTO team, and in our day-to-day, we work on automation and RPA solutions development at Amdocs. And in some of the keynote sessions that we have seen before, we see there's increased focus on continuous testing, digital testing. We saw Avinash talking about digital immunity. So that's exactly what we are going to talk about, but we are going to see it in action. So we'll be able to see the demos. So with that being said, let's get started with how we can automate at scale with Ginger. And let me introduce you to Ginger itself. So Ginger by Amdocs, it's a AI driven automation platform that is helping our customer to accelerate and scale at enterprise level. And if you are regular STC participant, you might have heard about Ginger in the past as well. In 2018, when as Amdocs we decided to make it a open source platform, with the motive that we want to contribute back to the community. And this is where we participated, and Ginger was presented back then. But then in last 3-4 years, we have seen that we added more and more capabilities which are helping our customers to achieve these benefits which you see on the slide, which talks about 30% faster automation creation, 70% reduction in the mean time to repair, which is one of the time consuming activity. Then we see there is an increase in end-to-end automation coverage. We'll talk about orchestration, which is allowing us to reuse the automation created across different platforms and orchestrate it part of your end-to-end scripts. And we see that there's a 60% reduction in escaping UI UX issues with our visual testing solution. So these are some of the key benefits that our customers are getting, and we thought it's right time to get back to a community and extend the capabilities to the community as well, so you can leverage them in your organizations as well. And as it's open source, you can start using it from day one and benefit from it. So with that being said, let's focus on what are the key capabilities that we are talking about. It's let's start with autopilot and self healing. So these are the two key features. With autopilot, we are able to use the AI driven capabilities to model the entire application into a page object model or a shared repository, and it works seamless across the platform, be it a web platform or a mobile application or a desktop application. It can be legacy power builder applications as well. Ginger is able to automatically model the screens into a shared repository, and then using a codeless approach, you are able to drag and drop and create the automation faster. And with that, we have a repository of objects and the page object models, as we are calling it. And then when you move to a next release, the maintenance is another time consuming activity, and this is where with Ginger self healing, it will use the on the fly correction, it will apply the relearning on those objects, and it will give you a comparison what properties got changed, and the fixes for those will be done on the fly, resulting into 70% faster maintenance. Visual testing, this one especially for digital applications, testing is becoming more and more crucial. uh, and what we see is, we have seen some stats, right? 61% of the users will not give you a second chance if the first experience is not good. And capturing the visual issues with manual testing, or by humans, it's very difficult. And this is where we have a plugin which can use, as part of your functional automation, you can introduce simple visual checkpoints, again with a codeless approach. And that is helping us to identify the visual issues much earlier in the testing life cycle. Orchestration, this is one of our differentiating feature, which we which is allowing us to reuse the automation created across Scrum team. What we have realized over the years is, uh, different Scrum teams at enterprise level are using different automation frameworks, and that's becoming a bottleneck when it comes to scaling the automation at enterprise. And this is where we are calling bring your own test, created in any framework. It can be, Selenium, TestNG, Python, and then you can orchestrate it with Ginger, where you will able to achieve end-to-end automation under this platform. And Ginger itself, it's a platform agnostic tool. What it means is you can automate the digital applications as well as legacy applications, backend, API automation, so all of that under one platform. And it's cloud ready, so we have a Docker images, we have a cloud support where you can dynamically, launch the container, do the execution, and scale up or scale down based on the testing needs. So putting this, all these features together is what is helping us, to drive the lightning fast testing life cycles, and focus on the regression as well as progression automation. And with that being said, I'd like to, hand it over to Mahesh to walk us through the demo itself, and to see it in action. Let's wait for Mahesh to be on screen, and we'll get started. Team, can we yeah, now we can see Mahesh. And yeah,
Can you
Mahesh,
hear me?
yes, we can hear you as well. Let's get
Yeah.
started.
Hello all. Thank you for the opportunity. Myself, Mahesh Kale. I'm from Amdocs with the team from Jinendra and Itsik. So I'm letting you walk through the three capabilities of Ginger. The first is autopilot, which helps to create the automation faster. The second capability is self-healing, which helps to maintain the existing automation scripts which are already created. And third capability is the visual testing, which or the visual checkpoints, which helps to identify the UI UX issues in digital application. So let's start with the first feature. The first feature is the autopilot. For this example, I have connected Ginger with the microfocus device lab. But Ginger can connect and integrate with any device farms. Okay. So for this example, I have connected microfocus device farm. So let's get started with the feature. So from here, you can start adding the page object model or the shared repository. For this example, I have taken the UFT Galaxy S20 device as an example. You can check any device to enable to learn the page object model repository for application. Once you for that you need to start the device. It will launch the device and also launch the application which was configured in agent settings. These are the different learning settings available. So if you check, there are different basic elements listed which will Ginger learn as a part of learning capability. You can also specifically select the elements which you want to learn, and you can also deselect which elements you want specifically to ignore or avoid. Also believes the combination of locators Ginger will learn as a part of that. You also have option to choose that. Once you start learning it, it will start learning the applications elements using AI automation capability of Ginger. So if you see, it has already learned the elements, different elements which are there on an application. For this example, username input is the username here. If you click highlight, it has highlighted the text box. Basically, it will help you to locate the element where exactly it's placed in the in the application. Similarly, you can look at the other elements as well. So Ginger has learned that using its AI automation capability or the autopilot. So in this case, I have taken example of the mobile, but you can create a page object repository for any applications like web, Java, desktop application. Even you can learn the page. You can create a shared repository for API, REST API, web services. So this is Ginger helps us to create a shared repository object models for any applications. So let's go to the recently captured login page. So you can see the different details here, the login, the name, and the device which was selected during the application, and the application here. Also, these are the elements which was learned during the learning process. Below is the property of the specific element. If you select the user input, this is the properties which was learned, and below right side there is these are the locators. So these are the multiple locators which was learned. So in the traditional record and learn approach, user has to go to each and every element to locate an element. Also, they had to manually add the locators. So Ginger is doing automatically for the user. So any one of the locator fails in runtime to locate an element, Ginger will automatically pick the second element to make the automation more robust. Also, on let's try to use this shared repository object models into the flow, actual flow. So if you go to the page object model section, and let's open, if you see, there is a already recently captured page, the login page. If you select it, it will show its all elements in the below list. And if you want to use any specific element into the flow, you just need to drag and drop, and that's how the Ginger makes it codeless for you. So if you open the action, you see Ginger has already identified that it was a text box, and what action we need to perform on text box, that is a set text. So you can put any value on the text box. The value can be also configured dynamically using the variables. So that's how much easy to using the Ginger to make the automation codeless. So I have created this pre-configured flow. Let's try to run that flow. There were three activities in it. So first when once you start the flow, it will launch the device and it will start the application. So it's populating the pre-configured values there, and it performing the automation of the application on the runtime. You can also see on the screen like what actions there are being performed. So once the flow is passed, you can actually drill down into the actual execution report. Once you click on the generate report, Ginger will launch the report of the execution. So you can see all the actions were passed, and all the flows runners were passed. You can also go into the details of the actions. In this example, you can see it shows exactly at what time action was started, at what time action was completed, its complete execution time, total execution time, also the status whether it was passed, failed, and along with that is there is a screenshot option. So you can open the screenshot of any action. It will help you to identify the exact state of application after the execution of action. So the action was to set the username into the input text box. Here you can see that value was entered, and that was the state of your application. Even you can similarly you can check the screenshot for other actions as well. So that's how you can monitor, you can check the report of the actual execution, and check your automation script using using this report. So this was about the autopilot feature. So the autopilot feature is being widely used in different accounts as well. And what we have observed so far, that it helped us to create automation 30% more faster and compared to the regular time. So that is the one point of the autopilot. So now let's move to the second part of the Ginger capability, which is self-healing. Self-healing helps us to maintain already created automation scripts. So let's take an example of this login page. Suppose that login page, this object, we created a shared repository of this login page, and we used it in the hundreds of flows. Now being said that it is being in hundreds of flows, and if there is another release of the application and there are slight changes in the UI, so in traditional approach you have to go to each and every flow and replace change the element and replace its locators to incorporate the latest changes. So that was quite a hectic process. Using the self-filling feature of Ginger, Ginger made it very easy. Within a matter of few clicks, you can actually update all the elements with the latest engine, and it will also update all your elements in all using through all the 100 flows. So here for this example, I have captured the old Facebook sign up and login page. This is how it was looked before. It's a quite a old page. Now if you check the recent Facebook sign up line page, login page, it has changed to this one. So let's try to update it using the Ginger's update elements wizard. So once you click that update elements wizard, it will launch the update elements wizard, and these are the different configurations you can configure as a part of the process. So once you click next, it will start identifying the latest change, and it will compare to the previous elements. If you see, these green ones are the already existing elements which was also there on the new latest UI and which was not changed. And the one with marked yellow icon, those are the changed. There are slight change in it. If you see in this example, the locator were changed for this element. The value of id was something previously, what it was something different, and now it has changed to something different. So it has said that there was a change in locator value. Also few locators were added which was marked in blue, and few locators were deleted which was marked as red. On the right side you can also see the screenshot of the actual element. So Ginger helps us to identify which elements got changed, or if the property got or the locator got changed, and which element got deleted. So here it is the list of the elements which was identified as modified during the process. So this was about the self-healing mechanism of the Ginger. So this is also being used in different accounts, and uh, using this feature, what we have observed so far is there is 70% reduction in mean time to repair. So what compared to the traditional offshore. So if there is any if there is a change in UI during the release process, Ginger helps us to already update the UI changes into your automation scripts within a matter of few clicks. So that was about the self-healing mechanism. Now let's move on to the third Ginger capability, which is a visual checkpoints. So basically, visual testing helps us to identify UI UX issues in the digital applications. So uh, Ginger was recently integrated with the visual checkpoints. Here I have created one flow to identify to show us through the uh, visual checkpoint demo. This was some action to pre-populate value in one of the text box, and the start visual testing action is to indicate that we are going to start visual testing with this configuration. The checkpoint is to compare the current UI of the application to the previous one, and the stop test is to indicate that visual testing is being stopped. Now let's actually run the uh, run this visual testing flow. So it will start the browser action and start the visual testing. The checkpoint is to compare the uh, UI of the application. So in this case, it has found that there is a difference in the latest UI changes, and if you see there is error that differences from baseline was found, and it has also shown the difference marked in red. So you can also actually visit in the visual testing dashboard and check the difference there itself. So if you see the difference was marked in the red, and this was the previous UI of the application, and this was the latest one. The difference was marked in red. You can toggle between the images and check what was the current actual image of the application. If you see it carefully, the name label was previously it was left aligned, now it in the latest UI it is right aligned. So it has highlighted that this is the defect. UI defect misplaced elements. So previously this element was being shown as a defect. Also in some other images, it is very hard to identify the difference for a visual for the human naked eye. Okay, so if we spot the difference and using the key, it will show you the difference what was that. So basically spelling of the Google was misspelled here. The O was replaced with a. So it has highlighted that O was replaced with a, and due to that further characters were also misplaced. So that's how visual checkpoints help us to identify the spelling mistakes as well. So these visual checkpoints can be added into any existing functional flows. Also, this is being used in many more accounts now. So what we have observed so far, there is a 60% reduction in escaping UI UX issues. So before going to live to the production, we are able to capture the UI issues, which are quite embarrassing to show after we capture on the actual production. So that was about the visual checkpoints. Thank you for the opportunity, and Jinendra, back to you.
Thank you. Uh, Thank you, Mahesh. I think you touched based on the points that we spoke about, the autopilot, self-healing, and visual testing. In the interest of the time, we could cover the specific three demos, but of course there are more features and demos, and I see there are some questions in the chat. So Ginger itself, it's open source, so you can type in ginger.amdocs.com. You will find the help library, the documentation, the videos on that. But let's quickly, I just want to cover with one case study, just to show the usage of Ginger in various accounts. So this is a case study of one of the tier one telco customer who was undergoing a QE transformation, and they approached us with a problem statement that the focus was to ensure the quality across their programs, reducing the cycle time, accelerating the velocity, and reusing the automation across the teams. So this was the problem statement, and with Ginger, we have implemented several these features across the testing life cycle. We have leveraged autopilot there, the orchestration where we are able to achieve the end-to-end coverage, and the built-in pipeline integration where you can integrate with Jenkins or any CI/CD pipeline, as well as the ALM tools. So you have end-to-end visibility on the testing cycle. And with this, they were able to achieve, within a 6 months of implementation, the tier one customer was able to achieve 4x increase in the overall testing coverage by automation. They increased their regression to 85% automated, progression to 50% automation, and overall testing cycle time was reduced by 20%. So this is one case study from the telco customer, but this is the same story we see across different customers which are using Ginger. And the whole idea is now to share it also with the community, so you can also leverage from that. And the next slide talks about some of the industry acknowledgements for our community as a Ginger by Amdocs. We have 6,000 plus active users who are using Ginger not only in Amdocs but across the globe outside Amdocs as well. It's being used by 50 plus top tier customers worldwide, and we have 16,000 plus download and counting. And it's being recognized in various forums, like last year at DevOps Excellence Award, Ginger was runner up in the Product of the Year category. And Nelson Hall mentioned Ginger as one of the platform with AI based automation capabilities in one of the article that was published. So yeah, that's it. That's what we wanted to share. Let's see if there are any questions in the chat box. We have another 5 minutes to take up the questions. So let me quickly move to a chat box. Yeah, so I see there is a question: can we use a local mobile instead of cloud? The answer is yes. You can connect either to a device lab, or you can connect your local device through APM, and then you are able to connect it to Ginger. Can we get code out of the tool, like code exported as a Java project? Okay, so Ginger code itself, it's a codeless platform. So what we are seeing is basically it's having the code in the XML form. So you are not able to, let's say, export it because it's already in the codeless form. But what you have is you also have a plugins for different frameworks. For example, you have a plugin for uh, you have a plugin for Java, you have a plugin for Python, Groovy. So you are able to create the scripts in other platforms and then use it in Ginger. Ishan, feel free to spotlight if any questions in the chat if I missed.
So as of now, we don't have any questions, Jitendra, remaining unanswered. So, but then we would, if we would have any, we would definitely email it to you so that you can share your thoughts on that, and we'll get the